Hi everyone, I'm Heather Poduska, star maker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any stage, and make blockbuster profits. Welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. Here we go.
Hi everyone, welcome to Thrive. This is episode number 5, How to Catch Big Fish Clients, with my guest, Lisa Montgomery. Lisa Montgomery is the owner of Luxurious Fishing Vacations, where she customizes world-class fishing retreats for high-end clients who want to travel to remote and exotic locations to make the catch of their life. In this episode, Lisa shares with us how she discovered this unique niche and how by narrowing her niche, she started to see real success in her business. She also shares with us what she learned about owning her value so she could consistently attract high-end clients. And finally, she talks to us about the difference between male and female buyers and what she's learned from working primarily in a male-dominated market. I suspect if Lisa wasn't a travel agent, she would be a business coach because she knows what it takes to grow a successful business. I hope you enjoy the show. Hi everyone, welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. I'm Heather Poduska, star maker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any platform, and make blockbuster profits. Thank you so much for joining us. You are in for high value content coming to you from industry leaders who are growing their business, making an impact, and rocking their brands. And my special guest today has a very unique brand, and I can't wait to introduce her. Lisa Montgomery is the owner of Luxurious Fishing Vacations, a full-service travel agency. This business is a highly niched business sending travelers to remote and exotic destinations to enjoy world-class sport fishing. She created the business in 2008 and is still going strong 9 years later. So tell us, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. I cannot wait to dive in and hear more about your business. So tell me a little bit more about this luxury fishing business, because I'm a woman. I have a lot of women on my show. We talk a lot about women's issues, and I was so pumped to have someone who works with men and has this really unique niched industry. So tell us a little bit more about your business.
Oh, I'd be happy to, and thank you for having me. I took my first fishing vacation when my twin daughters were 12 years old to Kodiak, Alaska, and I did not want to go, okay? And I got dragged there, and I just fell in love with it as soon as I caught my first fish. And it's not really, overall, it's not really about the fishing. It's about you get out there, you get still with yourself, you have these experiences with other people, you see nature, you're just in places you can't even imagine you'd ever go. And you know, as every entrepreneurial business, well, if you're not, I wasn't a high-end business person at the time. I'd worked in corporate businesses, but never had owned a business at this capacity. And the more and more, I think something that business owners don't really understand when they get started is you have to really niche yourself. And this came naturally for me, and I didn't understand what a blessing it was just to have this. And you know, I tried getting women more involved. There are tons of women that like to fish, but women won't spend the money on it, honestly, unless they're spending on it for their husband. So that wouldn't be, you know, in all honesty, it wouldn't be how I would spend my luxury vacation. You know, right. So, well, you have some things that just have like really cool stuff for other people to do too. So everybody gets what they want. But I get what you're saying, that the women spend it on their husbands. You know, if that's their thing, they would spend the money on their husbands to go. Right. For them to go off with a group of guys, they'd spend the money it takes, but for themselves, they won't spend it. Yeah. So that's just an interesting thing about women. But so it's been very interesting. So I explored, you know, women fishing and all these different groups and different things. And the more I worked on it, the more I came to the conclusion of, no, here's a group of people who I feel comfortable with, who appreciate the value of what I'm offering and really want to do it and really get a lot of benefit from it. And that is typically professional men of some sort. That's awesome. That is a piece of business that so many entrepreneurs are struggling with, and that is having the conviction to say no.
to say no to the people who are not their market. And I always say in branding, if you are not repelling people, your brand isn't strong enough, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow,
Not
that's a really great piece of advice.
not everybody should love you. If they do, then you're too broad, right?
Right, and you're not serving anyone.
Right.
And that's one of the top things. If I could tell somebody to do, it would be, that's one reason I think you and I were attracted to each other, because we understand how important a brand is.
Absolutely.
How important it is, and how the more finely niched you get, the more powerful it is. You know,
Right.
then you really attract the people that are supposed to be doing what you have to offer.
Right. And you're not trying to be all things to all people. You save so much time and energy. You can really focus on and provide a better product or service for the people you are serving.
And if you don't think there are enough of those people out there, either your message is wrong or you're not doing it right.
So talk a little, so why do you feel that way? So let's inform our audience a little bit more why you feel that way.
I see a lot of people that feel like they're in competition with other companies, other people, or, or they're in the blame game. Oh, it's just because of this, or it's because of that, or these people are doing this, and I can't do that. You know what? There's enough out there for everybody. And if you have the right message and you keep reaching out to those people, you got to understand, is my language right? Is my value proposition right? Am I offering them what they really are looking for?
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep getting no a lot, you got to examine, number one, yourself. And number two, maybe you're in the wrong market. Maybe you're targeting the wrong people. Maybe those aren't the people who can really take advantage of what you have to offer.
So
I'm
sorry to interrupt you, but
you have to do a lot of evaluation along the way.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying, and you have to evaluate your feedback. If people are saying no, you're saying first look at yourself. What is it that maybe you're putting out there? But honestly, Lisa, it might not be you. It might be the market. Like you might have a great product or service, like you were saying about men and women. That if you said to a bunch of women, "Hey, let's go up to Kodiak and go fishing," you might not get a lot of bites. No pun intended, right? But if you said that to a group of men, it might be more appealing. So you might not be. You might have something wonderful to offer. You just aren't offering it to the right group.
Right.
So how did you know to let go? When did you know to let go of pursuing women? Was that your first demographic that you had gone after?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was just I had some pretty good repeat business. Most of my clients were men, but I kept getting the message, and everybody kept saying, oh, women, women's groups. And then I would find these huge groups of women that fished. I mean, I would belong to one. I live in Florida, and I belong to one that doesn't exist anymore. But the first time I walked through the door, I thought, oh, there'll probably be 10 people there. There were 75 women there.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
And so I marketed those groups. And you can only hear people say so much, oh, I'd like to do it, but, and then you kind of go, enough of that. I've had enough. And yes, there are some women that fish, but typically they're going with their husbands or something. So that's all fine and dandy. And I would love to have some women's groups want to go, but you got to be willing to spend the money to go. So.
Right. You have to spend the money. So talk to us a little bit about differences you see in men and women and their spending patterns and how you might approach them differently in terms of marketing to them.
I have quit. I don't even look at it as men and women anymore. Well, number one, anytime you're working with men, you just have to cut your language down. Fewer words. Realize men are very categorized in their thinking. They're going to go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. You can't do what women do, which we go whoop, and we think about all these things and jump all over the place. Men do not do that. And if you come at them like that, they're gone. Mm-hmm. They're just like, I don't understand that. She's confusing me, and I don't need another wife. Okay, so there's that.
So can we put a pin in it for a second? So, yes. How do you not be another wife to a male buyer?
I have no attachment to what they do. When anybody I am selling to or working with, whether they decide to purchase my product or not, I have no attachment to whether they do it or not. I mean, whether they make that decision. Because for me, I am offering something that I see as high value. I can see how it's going to help them in their life. I mean, I have a lot of strong feeling behind that. But if isn't part of their value system of what they see valuable, or, they think the price point's too high, that's part of their value system. I have no control over anything they're thinking or doing. All I can do is be as honest as I can, set up the right expectation, give them the information, and support them as much as I can.
I love that. A lot of entrepreneurs, when they bump up against people who don't see the value in it, because it's not their value, They don't, fishing might not be their value. A lot of entrepreneurs, when they bump up against people who don't see the value in what they do, lower their rates. And they devalue what they do instead of saying, this is not the right market for me. And I had this discussion. I interviewed an image consultant the other day, and we were talking about purses and price points. And I talked to someone, and we were talking about what should a high-end bag cost? And I don't remember what she said, maybe like $300 or $400. And I told her that a few weeks earlier, I had talked to someone else, and I said, okay, if you were going to get your statement bag, like your power bag, what would be a reasonable price range? And without hesitation, she said $1,200.
Mm-hmm.
No one's right or wrong, right? It's not, neither one of them is right or wrong. It's completely their value system and their perception. So you have to know who you are marketing to and hold on to the value of what you are doing, which sounds like you've done beautifully.
And I'll tell you something. I had a discussion with somebody yesterday that I said, if I don't offer something to somebody because I've got limiting beliefs, or for some reason I think maybe they can't afford it, which is none of my business, because people pull money out like no other when they see the value in it, right? But it's like, shame on me if I don't offer this to them, and it could make a huge difference to them. It could be the biggest memory-making trip they ever have in their life. It could be, the turning point for them deciding to quit working and retiring, or going off to do something else with it. I have no idea what the effect is going to be. So how dare I not offer it?
Wow.
It's not about me making the money. It's about serving. That's the thing that entrepreneurs get all wound up because they're worried about money. They're worried about their branding. They're worried about that. It's really all about serving the client. It's about them. It's not about you.
I am in love with you. I'm going to give you some.
Oh, yay.
I'm going to give you some applause right now.
Oh, yay! Thank you. But it's just huge. That's the biggest thing. If you come from that point, you don't get all squirrely about the money and everything.
That's right. You're coming from service, but I think that's really hard. That's really hard for people. Really hard thing for people to get their brains around sometimes. And I think intellectually, on the surface, everybody who's halfway enlightened says, yes, I want to serve, right? Mm-hmm. We all want that. But there's a difference between thinking it and knowing that in your gut, and being able to let go of the result, which it sounds like you have mastered. So how did you get to that place of owning that mindset and having that belief still in you? Looking at you, so some people might be listening to this on the audio, but looking at you, I can see it in your body. I can see that you have ownership of that.
It took some work to get there. It took some work.
Well, talk to us about that. How did you get there?
Because when I started this business, I started at a low point when the real estate industry, the bottom had fallen out of it. We owned a huge home building business, so we basically lost everything. So we had just moved to Florida, and we're like, okay, we're starting over. And I found this group called Women's Prosperity Network, and they do a lot of work with, a lot of it's just making you believe in yourself again. And there was a lot of training involved with that, and a lot of programs with that I got involved in, and then I just went off on my own, and so then every year I would add something that was, and I still mentor for them, and I've been in leadership with them, but every year I focus on something to learn and become very skilled at. So one year it was sales. One year it was web and SEO. One year it was, I don't know what it was, but by doing that, I learned a lot, and I made sure there's a lot of self-improvement. You've got to evaluate a lot along the way. And, the reason I ended up with, I started out my business as Guideline to Adventure, which to me, a guideline, people in the business go, yeah, that's cool, but it means nothing online. That is so vague. And I worked with an SEO expert her name's Dagmar Gattel, and she was working through my my keywords and everything for my new website. And she was like, we got to change that. And she had to convince me of it. But as soon as she did it, all of a sudden I was just so laser focused on, you're right, that's exactly who I am. So another thing entrepreneurs do is they say, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, without looking what people are looking for and going, really, if you're that, you still get the same thing, you're still doing the same thing, and people find you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think that it's difference between looking at your process and what the result is that someone is looking for. Like you might say, I might say I'm a brand strategist, but someone is looking for someone who wants to attract high-end clients, or they want to learn how to speak better, whatever it is. Like, and especially I feel for my sister and brother branders, because it's such a vague term and people have so many ideas about what it is. It's someone who does websites. It's someone who does logos. It's someone who puts, images on boxes. And so if you say, I'm a brand strategist, I'm a business coach, I'm a travel agent, it doesn't necessarily say what the result is that the person who might buy from you is actually looking for, which it sounds like that SEO
She's
person
just amazing
did really
at figuring out someone's niche. Like, it's amazing. It's like her gift, I think. And I'm sure you do a lot of that, don't you?
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely help people and help people. I always like to take it back to people's vision and purpose for themselves, because if you trace it back, if someone is passionate, not if they're not passionate about what they're doing, if they're just going through the motions, it's not as clear. But if someone is an entrepreneur and they love what they do, somewhere along the line, there is a thread to their life story. And it is woven somewhere into their business, and it taps into a deep need, passion, desire to be expressed or met in their business. And I know that for me, I grew up as wanting to be a singer, to be seen and to be heard, and to refine my singing voice. And I also have struggled with it. It was hard for me. I mean, I had a lot of talent, but I had a lot of body tension. And so I knew I was sitting on this talent, had all the other pieces in place, but I had this body tension because of other anxieties and other things that were going on in my life. And I could not master the technique to get the voice out. So now when I work with people, I have this empathy to help them get their voice out and to help them refine what it is that they're doing. So it's a more optimized version of what they have, but that you can follow that thread. I mean, I know exactly where that thread is coming from. So that's one of the ways that I help people figure that out, because I think when you're aligned to something that you are passionate about, or that you're at least excited about, it gives you magnetism in your business.
So interesting. I love how you do that, because I have had to look back and go, so how did I end up here, right? And I realized that through my career, I was always the liaison person between people who were just kind of like accountants versus programmers, 2 different languages. And so I was always that person all through my career, engineers and regular people, all that kind of thing. And I've also been somebody who has a very hard time sitting still for very long, meaning I've always got to go and explore something. So it kind of all winds out. And then, something I really struggled with when I started this business, and really, they're like, oh, what do you do? And me really claiming it, was that I hear all these people around me going, my passion is to help people and to do this. And I thought, man, my passion is kind of like, I like to fish and I like to make money. And oh crap, going, oh, it's
I love it.
Selling insurance. Are they there to sell insurance because they believe that they're really helping people protect themselves, or are they doing it because it's a job? Okay. So I had to keep digging and digging and digging.
Right.
And we had this conversation a little bit when we first spoke, was that the reason I love to do what I do is because I know there are, and since my demographic and the people I've decided I'm helping are executive men, is they have been providing for everybody. They have spent all their time doing things for other people and work. And while as women, wives, mothers, we want them at home with the family and being more involved, and they're doing the best they can on the other end. And there's a lot of support for women there. But people don't really look at men like that. They're just supposed to take it and supposed to be sympathetic like I'm home and all this. Well, guess what? What about time for them? What about refilling their engine? What about some quiet time for them? Men need just that nothing box where they're sitting there and there's nothing going on, And so that's where I had to really figure out what was going on and why I felt like this was so important, other than just me having fun, which it's great to have fun in your business. So you better be having fun or stop doing it. But that's what I had to come to.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love all of the things that you're saying and that you've combined, because you combined a true passion, which is fishing. Like, you know yourself. You seem like someone who, and you seem like someone who really knows themselves. Like, you love to travel, you love to fish, you like to kick back. And so that sort of lighter piece of your brand is there. But then somewhere along the line, being someone who is very caring and taking and making sure that the men in her life is nurtured as well. I think somewhere that pattern is there and has shown up as a really strong desire for you. And then that is infused in your brand. And I am sure that is a huge part of what makes you so successful at what you do.
I guess. All I can guess is that it all works. So.
Well, I mean, listen, if I was a man and I heard a woman say, I'm here for you, I've got your back, I know that you need this place to chill, and I've got this fantastic vacation that is customized to exactly what you need and what you love, and I'm going to take care of you, I'd be like, here's the check, baby, sign me up.
I'm like going, wait, we got to do paperwork first. Don't you want to see the number? Don't you want to, you've talked to me for 15 minutes on the phone. We got to, So you can tell they really need it. They really need it. I'm happy to do it. And I do have a lot of customers that I just have a credit card on file. I'll send them 2 or 3 places a year. It's crazy. And I'm just like, where are we going this week? Okay. And it's fun stuff. Fun for me anyway, because I know I get so excited when I book a trip. I know what they're in for. It's going to be awesome. So.
I love that. But the thing I also love is that you are hyper in tune with the needs and desires of your audience.
Do, and for people out there that are going, I don't quite know, it takes time. It takes time, but you have to measure what's going on, measure what you're doing, and things change, things evolve. Keep asking yourself the hard questions, keep asking your customers, I won't say the hard questions, but just different questions. It can't be the same. Oh, great.
What are some examples? What are some of the kind of questions?
A very simple example is if somebody calls me, it's like, where would you like to go? It's more, what would you like to experience? What do you want the end result of this trip to be? And they pause for a minute and they'll come back with, I just really want some time with my son. That's what you're really getting down to. Sometimes it's like, I've always dreamed of catching this one fish, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to send you the very best place to catch that fish. And that's what you're going to do. And that's been their dream. So it's really working around what are their needs? What are their desires? What is their outcome from this? Let's say you're selling essential oils. What do you want their outcome to be?
And also, I was talking to someone else about this a couple of weeks ago. It's you want them to identify their dream. Right? You want them to be in touch with it. They might not even know. Like, it sounds like the 2 people you used as examples, the guy who wants the big fish and the guy who wants to spend time with his son, both knew that they wanted to do those things. But I know a lot of people in a lot of industries, they don't even, sometimes they don't even know. Sometimes that dream is sort of squished inside them, and having the conversation helps illuminate that to them.
My challenge to myself now that I've been working on and kind of developing some stuff around it this week is there are a lot of people, a lot of men out there who are in these high stress jobs. How do you get their attention to know that they need to spend the time on themselves? You can't use language like to get in tune with yourself. You can't use meditation. You can't use language like that. So that's my next obstacle or challenge. I love all of it. So
hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying the show. There's still more great content to come, but I wanted to take just a minute to talk to you about a new course I've created called Close Any Room. You may have noticed that all of my guests know how to speak about their businesses in a clear and compelling way. But that's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and it's something you need to know how to do so you can convert your audience into more sales. And that's why I've created this course. It's a 6-week audio course to teach you how to craft a signature talk so that you can authentically give value and close more of your audience from the stage. In the class, you learn how to create a clear and compelling point of view, how to organize your content and give great value to your audience without giving away the farm, how to structure your talk so that it seamlessly closes your audience at the end without feeling salesy. And I also give you templates and instructions how to create marketing materials, a speaker sheet, and all kinds of sign-up sheets when you're giving your talks. And finally, what everybody's hot to know, I also give you tips and resources on how to find speaking gigs. It's an all-inclusive course so that you can start closing and selling more from the stage. And as my free gift to you for tuning into the podcast, I'm giving you my free webinar, also called Close Any Room, and you can listen to it at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. And it will give you lots of tips and information to get you started on how to create that signature talk that sells. Okay, we're going to get back to the show now. There's still more great content to come. Thanks for joining me. That's so really interesting. So if there are any guys in the chat, let's ask them, what would you grab your attention as opposed to not, what did you say, get in touch with yourself? And so what would be a male-centric way? I don't know if there's anybody still over there, but a male-centric way of saying that.
Yeah, I had a good conversation with a gentleman yesterday that's a really high-end professional, has been out in the world a lot, and he's like, the whole problem is that these people in these jobs don't even know they need it. They can't even stand to be alone. They can't stand for have quiet around them. They're so used to everything being up in the air all the time and being in these high stress situations, they can't even sit still with themselves for a few minutes. So I was like, wow, it was a great conversation. I loved it, But so that was just very, very interesting. And so I was like, okay, I've got to really start thinking about my languaging and how I'm going to work on that to get things to go. I mean, I've done some work around that already, but men love to provide. That's one of the big keys for men. So it's like, provide a better version of yourself, maybe. So
yeah.
That's for brainstorming.
Well, I know. I was just going to say. Well, I mean, there's also the whole angle that if you're burnt out, you can't provide.
Right.
That you need this if you want to keep operating at the highest level to provide for your family, provide for your employees. You need to recharge. I also had
the idea of how it used to be work hard, play hard. I was thinking work hard, but something like play easy or play relaxed or play. I thought I've got to work on that one because that might work too. So I had some stuff on that, but I don't know. It'll come and I'll test it and we'll see how it does and. Testing is fun, people. You need to test.
But I love what you're saying.
Great results, because that's a blast.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, not everybody thinks that's a blast. I mean, not everybody likes the idea of. Well, they don't like if they like metrics and that sort of technical, and it's not really technical, but sort of that piece, metrics, testing. All of a sudden, that part of the brain that is more logical, has to pop into place. And if you're a more creative person, like me, that's sometimes that technical stuff is not where you want to go all the time. But it's so important.
Somebody else do it for you.
I think that
you can find some geek around the corner that loves doing this stuff, and they would love to measure it for you because for them it's a science project. There's always somebody out there to help you. Find an intern. I mean, there's always somebody out there who can help you do what you need to do.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess that, sort of a more female-centric way of thinking about it is just being engaged and in communication and getting feedback. So that might be a different.
Just look through your social media. What did you get the most comments on? What are you getting the most traction to? It can be that simple. It's like, well, I tried this and nobody responded and I don't like doing this. No. How about, what are they really looking for? Let's try again and see what we get next time. It can be that simple. It doesn't have to be going into your Google Analytics and digging through them. So
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. No, I'm just, as you're saying that, I'm thinking, well, I usually get the best comments when I tell all the funny things that my kids say, but I'm
And
not
then
really
it's when
building
I post pictures of the food I
around
cook, and I'm like,
that.
"Oh, that didn't really do it for me, but okay."
Well, though, when you can be creative, though, is that if you post the picture of the food and you talk about the food, you could tie that back to a great trip you took. Oh, I had this food on this trip. And I made this because we went on this fishing trip. It reminded me, oh, here's this other picture. Like you can be creative about how you tie things
I
back
need to
into what
work
you
on
want to
that.
talk about as well. Yeah. Yeah. So you are such a master in so many ways. So I want to ask you about what can women learn from men? So we're talking about how to approach men, how they are, but what have you found that men are maybe better at than women, and that women can
They're
learn
better
from
at
in their
listening.
businesses?
They're better at turning off
Mm,
their emotions and analyzing. Um, and I've become
mm,
very good at it, but I enjoy it. But a lot of times you have to
mm-hmm,
just go, I got to put my business hat on. This is not a time to be upset. If I get bad feedback, that's okay because I can make something better. You just have to make sure that you stay on the positive
mm.
end of things. You can't take things personally. That's something men don't do. Most men, I mean, I'll just say the majority, they don't take things personally in business. If they do, they got issues.
I love that.
They don't last long, or they're the like drama queen of the floor or whatever. But I don't take things personally. I've had things happen. People go, holy cow. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's not about me. So
That is awesome. And I think that you are right on with that. I mean, I think it's really hard not to take things personally. And I was reading reviews. Oh, no, my friend was telling me about a book called Fail Fast, Fail Often. And it's that whole idea of, you get up, you try, you fail, you move on to the next thing, you just keep moving, you keep moving. And I think that in order to do that, you cannot take everything personally all the time because it takes time. It takes your focus away from the thing that
it
you're trying to
sends you
do.
off on some kind of crazy, the fairy tale factory in your head. Boy, you can go off and have all kinds of horrible parties up there with that kind of stuff. I really changed my thinking around that when I read the Four Agreements. And so anytime I start to
Mm,
get a little funky upstairs, I just read the Four Agreements, go, okay, I'm in line again, and let's keep going down the road. So that helps a lot. You got to have a
I
couple
love it.
books like that help keep you on track. So find out what they start looking around and figure out what they are.
Yeah, yeah, there's some really great ones out there. I love it's one thing or one simple thing. Also, it's also about niching. It's that, don't focus on, a lot of people say pick your top three, and his premise is no, pick one. Pick one. And the other thing I love about that book is he talks about really successful people live with a certain amount of chaos for a certain amount of time, because you cannot be completely organized and on top of every area of your life if you're going to be really
And wanting to
successful
be
in
all
one area.
balanced when things are really rocking and rolling, it doesn't happen. You're going to be
Mhm.
way off the deep end with,
Yeah.
the phone ringing off the hook and everything crazy for a while and making deals and whatever. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Don't worry about dinner. There's like a Subway down the street. So, well, women especially get very
I'm going
caught
to
up
tell
in,
that to
well,
my
I got
kids.
to make dinner. No, you don't. Get over that crap. I'm just
Mm.
like, anybody who knows me, I'm like, I just kind of tell it like it is.
Will you come and
I
talk to my
will.
kids for me? Mama's going to Subway, honey.
Yeah. Well, when you've got younger children, it's harder.
Well, but I also think it's good for them to see you working, and I mean, you still have
Right.
to be a good parent, right? You still have to, but for your kids to see you working and being productive and passionate about
And
what
I'll
you
tell you
do,
something.
and
It's so funny you
you know,
say that because I never really thought that much about it. I just always did what I did, right? But now I have twin daughters that are 24, and they're both just amazingly successful in what they want to do. And they're like, and every once in a while they'll say something like, "Well, Mom, you used to do ABC," and I was like, "Well, you're right, I did." Children don't learn from what you say;
mm,
they learn from watching what you do. So
right,
if you're owning
right,
your
that's
business and you're
absolutely right.
miserable all the time and I never have time for it and whatever, they're going to go, God, I never want to own a business. I never want to do this. That's horrible.
Mm,
Mom's miserable. Or,
yeah,
I mean, it's all in what you put out there. And I know it's not all flowers,
But flowers are good.
flowers
are good.
You're the flower girl. Yeah.
I am a flower girl. Well, it's interesting. We were talking about doing what you love too, because we talked about this, before I was an entrepreneur, I was an opera singer. I mean, my whole life I was a singer. And when I started my business, I swear to you, I didn't know what Gmail was. I had no idea. And so I had to learn everything. And of course, I did dive in and learn everything. But in the process, I also was like, well, now I'm in business. So what, that's kind of singing side of my personality. That's then, this is now. And I started to create a business that was a little bit dry for me. And people were, and it wasn't until it clicked that, oh, I really like being in front of the camera. I really like performing. I really like talking, that I started to infuse more of that into my business, and I got a lot happier and things started to really roll then. So I think that piece of honoring, if you like fishing and you like hanging back, then pay attention to that.
And for me, it's just traveling and seeing new things and experiencing new cultures all the time. I just find it fascinating. I think it's fun. Mm-hmm. You could go out and, that's why I would say the fishing isn't about the fishing. It's not. It's about everything else mm-hmm. around it. You end up on a boat with somebody that you end up being friends with for the rest of your life. And you just never think you're going to meet people that you're going to understand that well or feel that good about, or you just don't think that's part of the equation,
So do you have that? That should definitely be a tagline for you. What you just said about the fishing. Right? The fishing.
I don't remember what I say.
The fishing is not about the fishing.
So.
Yeah. The fishing is not about the fishing. It's not always about the fishing, right?
Thank you. I will take that from an expert. But I will use that.
Yep, absolutely. My pleasure. So just before we kind of wind down, tell us a little bit, just give us your brag list of where you go, the kinds of adventures these guys go on, what they're like, just paint the picture.
Deer in the headlights. I'm thinking business, not the fun stuff.
So what? Well, it's part of the business, right? I mean, if some guys
I could go on forever, so we'll keep it brief. But one of my favorite places to go is Alaska. You'll see a lot of Alaska on my website. It's just like another planet. And people who say, I live in Florida, it's like, it's too cold up there. I just want to slap them, because it is just it is one of the most beautiful places you will ever go. And the fishing there is absolutely amazing. I don't even know where to start with that. I also work in British Columbia. It is somewhat like Alaska. It's still very beautiful, but it's not Alaska. But people like going there because they can catch a lot of fish, very friendly people, and the Canadian dollar is a lot lower than ours. So that's a nice little draw right now. Costa Rica is a phenomenal place to go. There are a lot of other activities other than fishing there. There's going through rainforests, there's going to volcanoes, there's zip lining, which I think is insane, by the way. People do that. I'm like, I got on one once. That's the end of it for me. But but there's that as well as the fishing. There's surfing. Panama is one of the best fishing grounds I've ever been on, and it's like hard to beat. You catch huge marlin and sailfish and Dorado and Wahoo. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Tuna, huge tuna. And then there are rainforests there too. You get done fishing, but that's strictly you go fishing and then you go somewhere else kind of place. And then there's Belize. Belize is fabulous. That's mostly fly fishing and all kinds of jungle.
In Belize? Oh, that's so interesting. I always think of Montana.
Montana's big in fly fishing. Colorado, any place with streams, rivers, anything. You can fly fish anything. I was out on a boat in Costa Rica, somebody fly fishing sailfish. I was like, you're out of your mind. But he did it.
Wow.
Right. But there's certain fish that just lean more toward that. You can fish anything with a fly, but that's a great place for that. And then there's, of course, all kinds of Mayan ruins, chocolate farms, spice farms, all kinds of really cool stuff in Belize, and it's English speaking.
So this is what you need to do. You need to sell Belize to couples and send them in fishing. Yeah. Awesome. And then, because I'm like, I'll go to the spice place and the chocolate place.
Yeah, this place, the one place I really love has a sustainable farm. And they do, and all the food is organic, all made there, all the piggies are grown there, all that kind of stuff.
Listen, you throw in yoga and you
there.
got a
There's
deal.
a masseuse there. It's a really, really nice place. And then there's the Amazon,
Awesome.
and there are a couple spots there. You go down to Brazil to find a Manaus and go out to the Amazon. We either work off of a yacht, like that's your mothership, and then you take sports boats off and you can go to the native villages. You can go fishing, you can go sightseeing, basically fish villages, okay, and hanging out on the yacht or on the beach.
Wow.
And there's another one where there's actually a lodge, and it's on the river, and they'll fish out there.
I want my mothership
It's
to be
awesome.
a yacht too.
I'm telling you, I have no problem letting someone bring me drinks, wash my clothes for me every day. I'm just like, what do you mean I have to leave? Then you come home and you're like, where's that person?
That is.
Yeah,
oh my God, that
kind
is
of
so
experience.
awesome. I love it.
It's different everywhere, and it's just fun. I can't help it.
Yeah, and I'm going back in my mind to what you were talking about recharging and rebooting for the guys that, you do sometimes. We always talk about as women, we have to get away. I have to get away from my house. My husband, let's just stay home. Like, well, if I stay home, I have to look at the laundry. Let's go out. But guys need that too. They need to be plucked out of their environment, right, and have a new experience so that they can really truly can recharge and get new, and if you're in business, get new creative ideas too from visiting all these different cultures and seeing these different
and it's
ways
so funny.
of doing
You talk about recharging. I took 16 people up to a lodge on Kodiak, Alaska, and I actually held a bag out and said, "Give me your cell phones." And they went, "No, give them to me." I was really ornery. You can tell it's really tough for me to get there. And I'm like, "Give them to me." So they gave them to me, and I kept them for 5 days. And they were allowed to use the lodge phone to call home if they just had to. And at the end, I gave them back. They didn't know their cell phones would have worked there. But I just said, now, would this experience have been the same if you would have had your phone on? And they went, no. It would have been a completely different experience. So I encourage people.
Yeah, totally.
There are a couple places where I go, we don't have cell phones, and we're happy, and we never want a cell tower. It's like no cell phone zone. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, they all sound like amazing trips, and I think that anybody who loves to fish or travel even would, have a blast and totally recharge their batteries doing that. And I am sure you are the best guide out there. I love
thanks.
your energy.
Like I said, it's about giving people what they want.
Connected.
You have to make sure you understand what they want.
But yeah, giving what they want, understanding what they want, and also finding something that aligns with who you are and
that's
what
number
you
one.
have to give.
Otherwise, there's no reason to do it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love it. So just as we're finishing up, I always like to ask people, because I think you are a total star, total brand star, real deal, smart woman. What do you think of? What comes to mind for you when you think of someone who's a star?
I wish you would have sent me that question. For me, a star is someone who is living as authentically as they can within themselves, because I think that is the hardest thing to do. Once you get to that point, you realize you're worthy to receive. You are willing to actually ask for what you want. You're willing to try and serve people without being, you're a little vulnerable sometimes, but you're willing to ask people the hard questions to try and move everything forward. Does that make sense?
I love that. Yeah, I love it.
But the authenticity,
I love
boy, people keep trying to be like somebody else, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it has to be a daily practice. Sometimes I kind of go, I'm like, nope, everybody wants this crazy person, so that's what they get.
Well, it's a process. It doesn't just happen overnight. And to really embody who you are, sometimes it also takes mirrors, because we don't always know, right? Especially like when you have children, they don't have their identity completely formed yet. And sometimes we shut off parts of our identity because it's not safe as we're going through life. So sometimes we need those mirrors, and we need people to nurture, encourage those pieces of ourselves and reclaim them. So I think that happens as well. But when you do, it sure is fun, right? I mean, it makes life so much better.
It's so much easier.
Yeah. And you are able to serve more because you're coming from a place of fullness as opposed to uncertainty.
Right. And it is easier once your children have moved on. once you're not with children all the time. So I'm lucky I'm in the sweet spot because you know how it is. It's just hectic and crazy. You have all these little personalities and all this emotion and all kinds of things going on. So, you have to take everything into account, but still try and honor yourself every day.
Yeah, I heard an interview with I don't know who the author was, but she was in her 80s, and they were interviewing her and talking to her, said, as your books got on and you got older in life, your sentences got so much more complex and intricate, and why did, how did that happen? And she said, well, I just didn't get interrupted as often.
That's pretty funny.
Mom!
That's funny.
So, yeah, cool. So one last question. As we're sitting here talking to each other in this moment, in this time and space, what are you most grateful for?
Oh, my goodness. I can't even answer that. I'm so grateful for everything. I'll tell you what, I'm so grateful because I've had just an amazing week. I got to meet with just amazing people all week long, on the phone, in person, and it all, you put a thought out there. And if you keep thinking about it, it will develop. It will come to you. You just have to be ready to recognize it and receive it. And I've just got a lot of stuff going on where I've started thinking about trips for men for team building, within businesses, and it's just flowing in. I have a facilitator now. I have a couple locations that would be good. I mean, it just all happens. And so I'm just so grateful for this week and everything that's happened and everybody I've gotten to talk to. I've been ready to burst this morning because I've had it's been so awesome. So. That's the answer.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love what you said. You have the intention and you stick with it and you stay clear about it and you put it out there and things start to happen. I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much. I am grateful for you. I am so grateful that we met and that our mutual friend Sharon hooked us up, who is a hoot and a force in her own right. But I'm so happy that we met, and I'm so grateful for a woman like you in the world who has ownership of her authority and her authenticity and can be a facilitator for the men that we love in our lives to rejuvenate and have experiences and feel special also. So thank you for all of the light and love that you bring into the world and your business through your business to all of the men that we love, and for honoring yourself and for showing up here today. I really appreciate your time.
It's been my pleasure.
Absolutely. So thank you also all of you for joining us. And as always, my special gift to my audience is my free webinar on how to become a profitable speaker. And you can get that at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. Okay, until next time, everybody, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Bye-bye. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Thrive. I loved having you here. I love having you as part of my community. And if you're enjoying the show, I would love it if you share it with your friends on Twitter, on Facebook, or wherever they're hanging out. I also want to let you know you can leave me feedback or comments. I love hearing from you. Just post those at heatherpoduska.com. You can also leave suggestions for topics that you'd like to know more about, or if there's someone you'd really like to see on the show, let me know that as well. Okay, until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Bye-bye.